A few days to elections, mine workers say they are appalled by the rise in corruption allegations. We'll hear their concern. Also, the World Bank IMF says to review Ghana's classification as a high risk of debt distress country by the middle of next year. We have details on this developing story. And also on the program, of course, fuel prices expected to go up sharply this month. We have all the details plus more in this edition of The Marketplace. I'm Charles Ayete. We have more after this break. Now, Ghana will be up for assessment by the middle of next year over its ability to repay its debt on time. This will be jointly carried out by the World Bank as well as the IMF. But looking at the country's rising debt levels, will the country finally fall into the debt distress status? George Traffy has the latest.
This assessment is usually done by the IMF and the World Bank to establish the ability of a member country to pay back its debt on time. Call it a stress test. The exercise will look at Ghana's ability to meet its debt obligations when it's hit by some challenge that may affect its revenue generation. The debt sustainability analysis has become very important following the transmission from a developing country to a lower middle-income status. This should mean that there should be a difference of assessment that is moving away from the debt-GDP ratio crossing the 70% mark to other variables. Ghana's total debt stock ending September this year stands at 273.8 billion Ghana cedis, representing about 71% of the total value of the economy. This makes the country a high risk of debt distress. Now, the country's rising debt stock, there are fears that we could soon flip into the debt distress status soon. However, the World Bank Country Director, Pierre Laporte, has told Joy Business that from his personal assessment, he doesn't think that Ghana will flip into this status, even though the team at the World Bank and the IMF may have the final say on this.
There are risks, but I don't think so, personally. Why? Because on the one hand, again, if you look at the structure of your debt, a large proportion of Ghana's debt is to multilaterals like World Bank, IMF, the bilaterals, and these are generally long-term debt.
Government, on the other hand, has argued that despite the spike in the debt stock, which was related to COVID-19 expenditure and the banking sector cleanup, it is however optimistic that with some programs that it is implementing, as well as the expansion of the economy, this will help improve the situation before the middle of next year, when the IMF and the World Bank will carry out their own scrutiny and assessment on their ability to pay back their debts on time.
Let's see how that goes. Fuel prices are expected to experience a sharp increase in the first pricing window of this month. That's according to the Institute of Energy Security's forecast. Now, this is due to the 11.5% increase in prices of Brent crude, corresponding to the increase in prices of gasoline and gas oil, despite the relative stability of the local currency. Here's Fritz Moses, research analyst at IES.
For the period under review, the national average price for petroleum products stood at 4.61 Ghana cedis per litre at the pump. The period also saw an 11.5% increase in the price of the international benchmark Brent crude, following its rise from the previous window's average price of $40.54 per barrel mark to the current average price of $45.49 per barrel mark. This increase has been as a result of the several successful announcements made within the period in connection to the COVID-19 vaccine trials. The CD per hour analysis maintained its stability against the US dollar over the period. As monitored on the S&P Platts global platform, gasoline prices, which is petrol, increased by 6.94%. Due to the increment in these commodities on the international market, the Institute for Energy Security IES predicts that finished petroleum products at the pump will see an increment as we draw closer to the end of the year.
A research analyst at the Institute of Energy Security, Fritz Moses. Meanwhile, prices of fuel on the local market remain stable within the window under review, or the last price window on November 16. Well, Microfinance and Small Loan Center Maslog has begun disbursement of 2 million cedis for traders who lost their wares at the recent fire incident at the Odona market. The fund, which is expected to take care of about 1,000 traders, is different from what the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, NBSSI, is offering. Here is a report on this initiative.
Ceremony to present a dummy check to the market women, the Microfinance and Small Loans Center announced that 1,000 victims of the inferno have been identified through the database from the Kolikulote Municipal Assembly. The loan will cater for more than half of the traders without any interest and a one-year moratorium for repayment. Deputy Chief Executive of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Efia Akoto, spoke with Joy Business after the ceremony to disperse the first tranche of funds to beneficiaries.
We came to support these business women with some money to help them start again whatever they lost some weeks ago. This is a loan that is going to be an interest-free loan, and this is something that hardly happens under Maslow. Every loan from Maslow comes with an interest. It's an interest-free loan, and aside that, we are giving them a whole year to work with without payment, and after the year, then they can start the repayment schedule.
The traders expressed confidence the fund will be used judiciously to revive their business. Speaking on their behalf, General Secretary of the Odona Traders Association, Benes Adako Klote, appealed to government to fast-track processes to get the market to operate again as soon as possible.
I have to say now to the government is that it should come and build our market for us again in a good way. Not in a way that maybe when there's a fire, the fire service cannot pass through and even quench the fire. We want him to come and make provincial shopping mall a great market for us. He should come and make the market strong for us so that nothing will happen again for the market people. Because you can't work and just be in the house for 2 years, 3 years before you hear it. Everything that you work for is gone. So we want the market, the government to come and build our market for us very, very, very well, so that tomorrow our children too will enjoy it.
Each trader is expected to get at least 2,000 cedis from the fund.
Good times for these traders. Let's talk cocoa now, because more than 10,000 farmers in the cocoa growing communities are benefiting from a special initiative to support them enhance their production. The special project being spearheaded by the Amenfiman Rural Bank is meant to enhance the yield of cocoa farmers to meet Ghana's ambitious annual production target of 1 million tons. The CEO, Dr. Alex Asma, spoke to my colleague Prince Appiah at the bank's 36th annual general meeting in Wassa in the Western North region. There is more in this report.
The 6th annual general meeting of the Amenfiman Rural Bank was held in Wase Kopon in the Western North region. The bank posted a 42% growth in profit after tax. Deposits increased from 189 million cedis to 254 million cedis in 2019, whilst assets increased by 36.5%. CEO Dr. Alex Asma says the trend shows confidence in the bank despite financial and pandemic challenges.
The year 2019, in spite of the difficulties coming from the banking reforms, we were still able to grow at 42% on profitability, and the bank also grew in all aspects of its business: deposit mobilization, total asset investment, everything pointed to the positive. And
Ghana's annual cocoa production target of 1 million tons have been missed for over 5 years now. As part of initiatives to support farmers to enhance their production, Amenfiman Rural Bank, through its special farmers loan program, has invested over 30 million cedis in cocoa farmers. Dr. Alex Asma again.
Largely, a lot of financial institutions think that farmers are very risky because especially a lot of the farmers are doing what we call small holder farms and they are undocumented. But look, the farmers are the ones that are holding this economy together. Cocoa farmers in particular drive a lot of economic activities in our communities where we operate. So Amenfiman Rural Bank last year invested quite a lot in the farmers, that we are able to bring the farmers together in cooperatives, in small groups, and then we educate and train them financially, and we're able to give money to them. 10,000 individual farmers benefited from this project. 32 million Ghana cedis were given out to these farmers as loans that we give them a long moratorium, some are up to 6 months, some are up to 7 months, for them to work on their farms until their produce are out before they start paying them.
Meanwhile, about 2.3 million cedis was invested in CSR projects, which includes supporting the construction of a Dadeso Chips compound and a laundry facility at the Wasa Government Hospital. Managing Director for ARB Apex Bank, Kujomata, has therefore implored communities in bank operating areas.
So I want to encourage our customers to continue doing business with us, continue doing business with a rural bank in your community, because when we make profits, the profits are reinvested in the communities in which we operate.
Board Chairman Dr. Tony Orban says the growth of the bank was supported by aggressive deposit mobilization strategy. Prince Apia reporting.
Now, the Deputy Ranking Member of Parliament's Trade and Industry Committee, Yusuf Suleimana, says the One District, One Factory initiative under the MPP government has been a failure. According to him, the majority of companies under the initiative were started by the NDC government. Mr. Suleimana tells Joy Business that lots of factories under the initiative are not functioning because they have not been properly thought through. Let's take a listen to his concern.
That most of the projects that they claim they've done got support from especially John Dramani Mohammed's administration. I worked with SM Bank, hitherto EDIF, okay, and we had given so much to these companies that they have put under 1D, 1F. Most of them got support 2-3 times under us. And we didn't name them as 1D, 1F. So if we were to separate those ones, okay, from the total number of factories that they said they had done, then you realize that they've done nothing. You need to give attention to the raw material base. You don't rush in putting up the factory when you don't have the raw material. What we are doing, I repeat, is just to help build white elephants. They fail because of this populist approach to the whole concept of industrialization. And I keep saying this, rural industrialization is the way to go. But it's not for you to just walk around and say that everywhere you see land, you want to put a factory there. No, you have to ensure that basic economics, okay, factors of production, okay, you need raw material. Raw material is very essential in all this. So if you don't build the raw material base, why are you putting up a factory? And we are saying that we'll take our time to build the raw material base, we'll take our time to make provisions or solve the technical issues, ensure that, look, the factory can run throughout the year. Once you do this, we are good to go.
Well, the 1D1F Secretariat has said that 76 factories are currently operational, including 48 revived ones. It says another 94 factories are under construction. The Deputy Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Bright Reku Bobre, says this is only to take-off stage, and of course, this is only at the take-off stage, and that the economy will see better development from next year if the NPP is still in government.
Lots of things have been done already on the ground. So the second term of His Excellency Nanado is a take-off stage. So we are going to see massive development. We are not now going to use resources to be paying debts, which we came to meet. We are now going to use the resources to actually put in place what we have intended and have planned with the people. So we are going to see massive development come 2021 and beyond.
You're still watching The Marketplace. Let's now take you back to our top story. We are just 4 days away from elections, and already allegations of corruption have dominated the airwaves. Now, this is of grave concern to mine workers who fear the menace is having an overall impact on the national purse and affecting each and every Ghanaian worker. Let's hear from the General Secretary of the Union, Abdul Mumin Gbagna, who has been speaking at the just-ended second-half National Executive Council meeting of the Ghana Mine Workers Union held in Accra.
Area that trade unions in Ghana, including the Ghana Mine Workers Union, continue to shy away from is a lackluster attitude towards the fight against corruption and corruption-related offenses. In fact, given the spate of corruption and aborted corruption scandals since the Fourth Republic, and the notoriety it has gained in recent years, and the debilitating impact on the Ghanaian society, and by extension the continent of Africa, reinforces the urgent need to confront this deadly cancer head-on. Rather, the African Union estimates that 25% of the gross domestic product, or GDP, of African states, or some $148 billion is lost to corruption every year on the continent. $1 billion is a lot of money. And so if you have close to about $150 billion lost to corruption on the African continent every year, it's a gory situation. In Ghana, according to Imani, Ghana loses more than $3 billion to corruption every year. Given the spate of corruption and corruption-related offenses during this Fourth Republic, most of which you are aware of, and it's not my intention to bore you, because I can give you an endless list of corruption and corruption scandals. You already know what they are. Rather, drawing from Imani's conservative estimate, therefore, one can say observably that Ghana has lost over $90 billion to corruption, with impunity, unfortunately, since the Fourth Republic, with the governance of the state alternating between the two major political parties, the National Democratic Congress and the New Patriotic Party. Interestingly, both parties are up again for elections in the next couple of days. And it is obvious from the trends so far that one of the two would emerge winner in the general election come December 7, 2020, unless a miracle happens. Bracha, this means that the lesser of the two evils is likely to win. And therefore, the vicious cycle of corruption continues unabated.
You're still watching The Marketplace. Now, about 200 young Ghanaians in the Ashanti region venturing into entrepreneurship have been trained vocationally in order to gain the needed skills to start up their business. Let's take a listen at this particular report put together from the Ashanti region.
Beneficiaries received training in dressmaking, welding, carpentry, auto mechanics, hairdressing, and general electrical works. Started in 2003, the program targets hard-to-reach communities and offers this support as part of its community and social responsibility programs. Chief Programs Officer at the Snapiaba Savings and Loans Company believes the move will give hope and future to the disadvantaged youth.
Snapiaba Savings and Loans is a non-bank financial institution which was started as an NGO in the year 1994 and transformed into a savings and loans in the year 2013 as approved by the Bank of Ghana. One of the things that we seek to do is to ensure that the life of the clients and their beneficiaries in the communities in which we operate in are transformed. And so in the year 2006, Snapiaba thought of the youth of Ghana, especially the poor and the disadvantaged ones who for some reason do not go to school or are dropouts from school or have some challenges and therefore do not have any skill. Snapiaba sought to improve upon the life of these youth by giving them a skill of their choice so that they become responsible citizens for the nation. As a result, we started a program which we call the Youth Apprenticeship Program, YAP. In that year, we started with 94 apprentices. But today, we are counting over 4,000 apprentices that have benefited from this program. What we do is to give these youth a life-changing experience with the skills that they have so that they can be employed or set up their own businesses and make good of themselves. So today, Snapiaba Savings and Loans is excited to graduate 200 of the youth who have gone through our program in the last 3.5 years. They are graduating today and they'll go out into the world and be of benefit to their family, to their community, and to the nation. Snapiaba Savings and Loans looks forward to the next 5 years of graduating another 3,000 youth to make them youthful citizens for the country.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
You know what, let's take a short break. We'll be back with more business stories to stay. Yeah, welcome back. Now, some development story that we are following up for you. There has been a national shortage of grains, specifically yellow maize and that of soya bean. Of course, our sources close to Joy Business tell us that this national shortage is having a dire impact on the poultry sector, especially when the main feed happens to be these two forms of, meals that most of these poultry do consume. What this means is that there is going to be a huge impact in the sale of poultry when it comes to its costs and, of course, the quality of feed that are being administered to these fowls. We're gathering that the Agric Minister is set to meet the stakeholders within the agric value chain to discuss the best way out, especially when any development could have a toll on this year's elections. We shall be keeping a keen eye on this development, especially when the holiday season is up and the prices of chicken could skyrocket. Do stay with Joy Business for more on this one. But of course, in today's edition of Money Lab, the Executive Director of the Financial Literacy for Africa, Dr. Richmond Kwame Frimpong, is focusing on the advantages and disadvantages of investment products. Take a listen.
On Money Lab today, we want to take another look at products that fall in the medium-term duration for your investment decision. Yesterday, we looked at shares, its advantages and disadvantages. Today, we want to look at mutual funds. When we say mutual funds are collective investment instruments that take contributions from so many people and gets the fund to be managed by a licensed fund manager who takes decisions on the asset classes for that investment. Every mutual fund gives you access to a professional manager and it gives you returns on the shares or the instruments the invested funds are put into. One good thing about mutual funds is that you will have access to withdraw at any time and you have access to make contribution into them at any time. So the next time you want to take an investment decision on a mutual fund, know that in addition to the returns you make, you have easy entry and easy exit.
And that'll be all for the marketplace. I'm Charles Ayete. Many thanks for being with me.